All right, filming.
All right, we are live, episode 4 of the podcast. We got a very, very special guest today. Would you like to introduce yourself, Mr. Fox?
Jim Fox.
Yes, this is my dad. Your full name?
James Thomas Fox.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, he goes by Jim.
Wait, why does he even go by Jim?
Super easy.
Okay, that's fair.
And a lot of people, they'll call me not Jim Fox. They'll just say Jim Fox. That's like my first name.
Okay.
So they like combine the first and the
Okay.
last name a lot.
Yeah.
But
All right, well, now you're screwed. You got your full government name out there. They're gonna come for you. But I'm very happy to have you on. It's a blessing, and I've been definitely waiting for this. After we had your dad on, I was like, we gotta have my dad on because they both got good stories to share, and I'm excited for this. I think
me
you
too.
I think you should lead the way with the questions, like how I was asking.
Honestly,
no pressure.
yeah. I guess we should talk about your upbringing first, Jim. So where'd you grow up?
Basically, we'll start from like square
very
one.
beginning?
Yeah, the very beginning, whatever you can remember from that point, and we'll go from there.
I'm a native of Bethesda, Maryland. I was born Suburban Hospital, 1966. So like right down Old Georgetown Road. And basically, I've lived in this area 59 years. So I was in Maryland for 55 years or so, and then I moved. Now I live in McLean. But I was born in Suburban, went to elementary school at Airlawn Elementary School, which is across the street from the Y. You go down the beach that way. And then I was at North Bethesda Middle School,
which is where we went.
Where you guys went.
That is crazy. They still had it back then.
And then I finished. I went to WJ, and then I finished at Maryland.
Yeah. What degree did you get at Maryland, or what?
So my undergrad is in psychology, and then I finished that, and I took some time off, and like a year, and I painted houses.
Damn.
I just grinded the summer, and it was like brutal work. And I was like, I'm going to go back to school because I didn't want to work Joe jobs and spend a lot of money on, my parents spent a lot of money on my education. So I took that year off. I worked, and then I decided I wanted to train.
Yeah.
So I went back to Maryland and got my prerequisites because I was a psychology major and I wanted to go kines. So I went back to Maryland and I started taking some like core classes, and then I met some kids that were training at a gym that I was working out at, and they told me about a strength coach internship in that class, and I kept walking down to where the strength coach offices were like every day after class for like 2 weeks. No one was ever there. And then finally, the assistant strength coach was there, and I talked to him, and he's like, "Yeah, like come in next week, and the strength coach should be here." So I kept coming by, and he was never there. So I just kept trying, and finally I connected with him, and I did an internship with him, and we had a great relationship. It actually ended up being how I got connected with the Capitals, and eventually gave me a lot of opened a lot of doorways like over a period of like 15-20 years.
Yeah, so that's persistence there. What made you start training in the first place, though, working out? Because I know you did some bodybuilding when you were younger too, probably around this time, maybe a little later.
Like,
a lot of fitness.
Like literally when I was in elementary school, I kind of was a fat kid.
They used to make fun of him because he used to eat a lot of cheeseburgers. Who's our one family member?
I never knew this.
I was a little fat. Like, you know, when you get to that stage,
we were both like that.
Yeah. You had a similar body to me when I was younger.
It's kind of funny.
Kind of got made fun of, but I was also like athletic when I was younger. So I did a lot of sports. And then in elementary school, this one teacher, he was into fitness. He was into powerlifting. He taught, like, I remember specifically, like in fifth grade, he had an after-school program where he taught us how to lift and wrestle.
That's so cool, man. I swear no one's probably doing that.
No one.
He wasn't paid for it. He was a volunteer.
That's so sick.
And he took us, like, sometimes, not all the time, but periodically to the JCC, and he would like let us play basketball,
That's so sick.
jump on the trampoline, go in the pool. Robert Weinfeld was his name, and
Shout out.
like
Shout out.
totally. I don't even know if he's still alive. I saw him when I was in high school, when I was a senior and I was graduating. I literally came up to him and said, "Thank you so much for like turning me on to physical fitness,
Yeah.
basically."
Yeah.
But yeah, let's go back to that. That's cool.
Yeah.
So what happened with that? He was taking you guys to the.
Yeah, we would wrestle.
You got
Like
into
he
it?
legit was like I think he might have been a collegiate wrestler, or at least high
Damn.
school. He showed us all the moves. We'd wrestle together. and,
That's
like,
insane.
You got to do that, Mark.
Yeah, I remember hearing just like one of the jiu-jitsu athletes. He grew up in a daycare where the guy had them like he learned jiu-jitsu in a daycare basically because like, he saw it on like he saw the UFC like was it when it
Is
was
this
first
Gordon?
coming up? Yeah, Gordon.
Yeah.
When it was first coming up, he saw the UFC, and the guy was like, "I want to show the kids these moves." So the little kids are learning like triangle chokes and all this jiu-jitsu. But I think that's so cool. You know, at a young age they had you wrestling, and I think that's almost like you look back at like I want to say recently I've been looking into like a lot of Greek philosophy. I'd listen to it while I run and stuff, and back then even they had some form of wrestling. So I feel like wrestling's always stuck with guys at least just to build
Men
like
have always fought
yeah,
for
men
like
have always-
fun too.
and it's just it builds character I think too. It's
Yeah.
just
totally.
You got to get that out of you.
I wish they had that in like I mean at the same time you got to be now everything you have to be careful, but at the same time
Yeah.
like wrestling is one of those things that
Yeah. So like in elementary school at that point, we had PE every day. Now it's once a week.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
they like limit it
Our
so much.
physical
now.
education in elementary school is poop.
Yeah.
And I don't know what their philosophy is in middle school, but it's probably similar. But we had PE every day and recess every day, so we were pretty active.
Yeah.
And then going into middle school, I started playing sports. I did a lot of pickup sports like football, basketball, and I tried out for the middle school basketball team. Made it, and then I also played soccer.
So were you still like skinny fat back then when you were like trying out for the basketball team?
I
Or
was a
you
lot
kinda,
like you. Like when you started growing vertically,
Mhm.
then you just lose
Mm.
that fat. But I
Okay, yeah.
also, through doing more after school stuff, like pickup stuff, I lost some weight.
So just through sports, you were able to kind of like gain that confidence and like want to try out for the
Yes.
team. You
Yes.
got into it through playing sports. I think that's why PE is so important and like stuff like that.
Yeah. So I did, and then I connected with football in high school.
Oh yeah, you
I
played.
was really involved in football for 3 years because back then it was 10th, 11th, 12th grade instead of now it's middle. You start high school 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th.
Yeah.
And then I just
And you weren't that bad either. Don't sell yourself short.
what?
Your accolades in football.
I was captain of the football team.
Woo!
Pretty cool.
Did
We
you
were
get an
terrible.
MVP too.
MVP. Yeah, I was MVP
Yeah, whoa.
my senior
I
year.
didn't know that.
We were awful though. I was talking with someone the other day. It was a kid who played football at Woodward when Woodward was open, and they had like literally 23 guys on the team, and I think we were pretty similar. So a lot of us played both ways. I played offense, defense, and so I really got into that. And then from there, our coach was really big into lifting. Guy Borelli. He was one of the first strength coaches for the Redskins.
Yeah, that's
So-
why I've heard that name before. I was
That's
like, that
cool.
sounds familiar.
So he was this dude who was like 5'5", 225. And he had his arms were like that long. He could bench all day
It's
long.
actually gorilla.
Yeah, that is.
We got this for
What do you call them, like alligator arms, where they're like don't have to go far at all to like. And he had a huge
No, yeah, the
chest.
range of motion.
He had a huge chest, and he would just pop on 225, and he would do it like 20 times, no problem.
Yeah, it's
Perfect
a gorilla.
build.
We had this guy in our fraternity. He was like, literally, we call him gorilla because he's just like a small.
He looks like a Hobbit character.
Yeah,
too.
he literally looks like a hobbit, but
And he's strong as shit.
bench like 405.
Yeah,
dude.
405 on bench in college.
Yeah, he was.
He's not an
strong.
athlete or anything. He's a strong ass guy.
So Guy Borelli, he gave us this program. We did it like the same program all year long,
Yeah,
and for 3 years.
yeah, that'll get you.
And
What was the program?
I can tell you right now, it was squat, bench, push press, and then we complained so much that we weren't doing any hamstrings or bicep work. He had us do cheat curls.
Cheat curls.
Cheat curls are just basically, really rocking your body. And then he put in good mornings.
Oh yeah, those are. I haven't
Awful.
done good mornings in a long time.
You
So
gotta
I
throw
still have
those
a
in.
permanent scar from the squats and the good mornings on my back.
Yeah,
I got that thing
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
the barbell mark. I
Yeah.
remember.
But
yeah.
like he did so many sets. Like for squats, he did 10, 8, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2,
Fuck.
2 drop back set.
That's what you would do.
Yeah.
nine sets. So
Jeez.
if you could survive in that program,
Yeah.
you got massive gains.
And what were your
Yeah.
numbers? Your numbers were pretty good.
I
remember
ended
you
up
told me.
in my senior year. I squatted 405 for 5,
Yeah,
good
that's
as
strong,
shit.
man.
and my ass was just. It was huge.
That dump truck.
I had the total.
We
dump
got
truck.
that bill, the dump truck bill.
But honestly, that's really all you need, compounds. And
Mhm.
I've always thought that, just like, because if you look at some of the biggest fitness influencers like Lex Little, when you look back at his physique was like so good when he was like 17, 18.
He was just powerlifting.
He would literally just do compounds. Like I remember his leg day was just heavy squats and then leg
Yeah.
extensions done.
and then left. Yeah.
That's all. And you'd watch the videos and it was like so hype because he's so strong.
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
boom.
We were trying to do that too,
Yeah,
but
you
we
grew
made
monster
gains
legs.
off that.
You do.
I don't know why you kind of leave that.
I mean, other things are fun, and I think
Yeah.
it's fun to test different exercises and get
Definitely.
blood flow and other things, because your goals change. But
Mhm.
you can literally get away with just
I think it's kind
compounds.
of boring. That's why people don't like to do
Yeah.
it. But you make a lot of gains just doing compounds, especially if you start your lifting career with compounds. It builds a really good foundation.
I think also at a point the injury return to progressively overload is just, it's not really worth it anymore to keep increasing.
And
you
then as
probably-
a natural too, you
Yeah.
slow down.
and you might get injured, man. People get
Yeah.
injured usually when you get too heavy. So,
Definitely.
We went super heavy.
What was your
like-
bench press numbers?
Not great. I think I was like 265 for like 1 or 2, maybe. My bench was really
not bad,
lousy, like
That's not
compared
bad.
to
Yeah,
my
we get the
legs.
shitty bench press.
Yeah.
No, sorry, son.
I mean, honestly, that's not even that bad though.
Yeah, I
Like,
admit that.
but yeah, I mean,
In high school too. That's
But literally, the rooms where we used to lift was you'd walk into the room, empty room, no equipment. So you'd walk into the room, it was a room like this, and then there was a doorway that led to another room. So we had 2 rooms, and we just had benches. I think we had like 4 benches, and then we had squat racks, the portable ones that you would just move around, and they're stands, squat stands.
yeah, I know. What
And
you're
we would
talking
have
about.
like 3 or 4 setups of that, and just all plates.
Those are the scariest because when you take the barbell off and you have to
Oh,
put it back on like a
yeah.
little
Yes.
wobbling thing. I've always thought,
Yeah.
You can
I
like
think those
hit
are
it,
dope.
right?
Yeah, you can hit it and then it fall forward over.
Yeah.
I gotta be careful.
Remember the
with those.
old school floors they had in the schools where they're like linoleum, like the hard squares?
Yeah.
Oh.
That's
yeah.
what we lifted on. And so one day, this dude was squatting and he lost it and he dropped the bar and it just cracked the whole floor.
Oh, shit. That'd be you.
Yeah, that'd totally
the
be me.
beach, remember?
Yeah.
The
But
God.
you know what? With that amount of equipment, very, very low cost. But man, like he just made that program work.
That's all. You don't need all the I look at some gyms and I'm like, it's overwhelming how much equipment they have, and you have to jump from I look at all the equipment. I'm like, what am I doing here? I need to get back to like the simple stuff, just dumbbells, barbell. You can make up a lot. You can make shift a lot with just that. I've always thought so.
And they got like 3 floors. It's becomes so overwhelming.
Yeah.
Some gyms are like that.
Yeah.
What I remember about Coach Borelli was he literally said, actually, he didn't say no belts. He said when we got heavy enough, use a belt. No wraps, like no knee support, nothing.
They had that back then, right? People would wrap their knees up.
Yeah, they would wrap them with what's it called, like the Ace bandage.
Oh,
We would wrap it with an Ace bandage. They didn't have Velcro wraps or
Yeah.
anything like that, but
that's crazy.
he was pretty like Spartan. He was really like no equipment whatsoever.
Did you do those box squats? You know, a lot of football players squat and they actually sit onto that box.
No,
I don't know. That's really popular with NFL players. I see that.
we didn't do. Yeah, we just those lifts that I told you. We did those with
That's what you
some type of set variation, and that was it.
You build a lot of strength in your knees too when you learn to squat without anything. And I had to rebuild my
And
squat
core
recently,
strength.
almost fully, because I had so many years of me lifting with knee sleeves and belt and
Yeah.
all this stuff, and then my knees got so messed up, and I'd do eccentric leg extensions, kind of counteract the knee pain. It would go away, but then when I stopped doing anything, man, now I have almost no knee pain, and anything that comes is really running. Honestly, was kind of made any knee pain. So
So when I used to train you, You know how he used to correct you? Like
Yeah.
Guy Borelli was the same way. He was a tyrant with form. Like
Yeah.
you'd be doing your squat lower. Like he
That's
would
good,
just
though.
he would yell at you, and then you're done with your set. He'd bring you over. He'd say, "Hey, move your feet in and out, a little bit wider with your base, blah blah blah." He definitely was a really
That's what you need in a
good
coach, though. You need that
technician.
attentive, like someone who really actually cares about you, and he's putting his time and effort into like make you get better. Like he's literally telling you like tips like that. That's how you know he cares. That's a good.
Yeah,
coach.
100%. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Where are we going from here?
Do you think you asked him just how you got into training? That was the question.
Yes, you got into training here, and then I guess we'll talk about. I mean, let's keep going with training. So, yeah.
Like personally, like my own training. So after high school football, I went to Frostburg for 2 years, and I tried out for the football team there. Continued lifting, and I just got to a place where, like, I made it through 2-a-days, the hardest part
Yeah.
of the entire year. And then it got to the regular season, and I literally walked into the locker room one day and I was like, "Fuck this! I can't do it." Like,
Where were
I
you
can't.
playing? What was your position there?
Receiver and running back.
Tight end?
I was a tight end in high school.
Okay, yeah.
So I just quit. One of the few things in my life that I quit, and I felt terrible. Like, but it was for a good reason, because I'm kind of a slow student. I really have to like look at my studies and take my time. And when you're an athlete, it's like basically you got 2 jobs.
Yeah.
And so I just made up my mind. Football career is over. And I remember specifically walking into practice. The guys were out of practice because I didn't want to go when everyone was around. I got my stuff and I was out.
Yeah.
And I saw a friend of mine who was on the team. He's like, "Dude, what's up? You made it through the hardest part of the year. Where you been?" I said, "I can't do it, man. I can't do it." And he was like, "Yeah, I get it. Like, I'm having a hard time with my schoolwork." Like, yeah. So after that, I just kept lifting. I kind of continued sort of like I was my high school program. And then I started to go to the YMCA and lift in there and got into bodybuilding. And I guess at that point, I'm still in college. So I really was just going psychology route. And when I finished, I transferred to Maryland. And
I have a question. So
Yeah.
when you went to, so you obviously leave high school, you get into college. How did your like lifting career and like fitness kind of journey get affected by college? Because a lot of people when they go to college they fall off with lifting because they get distracted by like partying, schoolwork, social life. How did like your life get impacted
Well,
with fitness?
I pledged a fraternity.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to ask you about that too. That probably
That
affected
totally
you.
derailed
We
me.
both know about that.
Yeah.
It derailed me, but then when I was
Interesting though,
when I
with
was-
fitness guys, how they gets impacted by that.
For me, the pledging was a challenge. Like,
Yeah.
I just went full.
But you like
I'm,
that.
I'm a little bit like you. When I do something, I
Mhm.
just go all out.
Yep. I think even at uni has that personality too.
You know,
I just wanted to
my
get
frat
it.
brother, my older brothers loved it because I was just enthusiastic into everything. I would just
Yeah.
go all out, 100%. But at that point, ex-football guy, I still want to stay big, stay strong because I really have that same mentality. And then kind of I shifted into running like you've been doing lately, and I leaned down a lot, and then I really got into running like you're doing right now, and I like the endorphins. I like that high, and kind of just got into a little bit more bodybuilding stuff.
So we definitely have to talk about that because you did the bodybuilding show, but you've also done triathlon, right? Or you did.
So I did. It's kind of hard to remember. I did the triathlon stuff after my bodybuilding.
Okay.
So I started bodybuilding when I was personal training because I got certified personal training. So I was doing that
After Maryland, this is
after Maryland.
Okay,
So I instantly, as soon as I graduated, I started working at
spa.
Bally's.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, which used to be on Rockville Pike. That was my first like gym gig, and I worked there for probably 2-3 years. I got their in-house personal training certification. Then I got certified through ACE, NSCA, NSPA, and then I started working for personal training companies. First one was Sergeant's Program, which was like a military style workout. But I did their personal training. I never did like their military style program. And then I also worked for Kevin Masalka, who Ione knows. He's still
Yeah,
training at Eckenrose.
Really?
I'm interested to catch up with
The
that
guy,
guy.
honestly.
Yeah.
He was an interesting individual. Kevin Masalka.
He's got a lot of shit to say.
Yeah.
He gave me my exposure to training NBA athletes.
Yeah, that's
Like
awesome.
legit. He might be goofy, but he knows his stuff.
I always enjoyed his personality. Honestly.
Yeah, he's good.
Yeah.
Good personality.
There's a reason why he does what he does to this day. I
Yeah.
mean, I've been in the business 35 years. He's over that. So with him, Elite Physique was the name of the company. I was basically working 2 companies and juggling that and always learning and, you know, keeping my certifications up to date, going to, you know, conferences and seminars and, you know, just staying up to date and just, you know, kind of like refining my repertoire of training. And, you know, back then I started working with Dikembe Mutombo, Patrick
Peace.
Ewing, like really top level athletes, because David Falk was
Michael Jordan's agent.
He was connected, and Kevin Smart, he got connected with Falk, and that was his NBA pipeline to this day. So I got to really work with high level athletes at a pretty young age and learned a lot, and then got an opportunity to be an assistant strength coach at Maryland with Frank Costello, who's basically a pioneer in the strength and conditioning realm. And I, since I was going to Maryland and doing my core classes, I did that internship, and basically he asked me to be his assistant at the end of that. And then I ended up going to the Capitals with Frank, and then he retired, and then he tapped me and said, "You're going to be the next strength coach for the Caps." And that was like 2001, 2002, I was the head strength coach for the Caps.
I honestly never knew how many accolades you had in the coaching
Well,
the world. Yeah, because like I mean, I guess
I knew you were like a pretty well off coach, but I just didn't know all that.
He's got more too.
Yeah,
More
it's
than that.
insane. Yeah, they keep going with this story. Yeah.
I do this for the bodybuilding though, and the racing, triathlon, or whatever you did.
the bodybuilding, like,
I want to hear about the prep because that's interesting.
Truthfully, like, I got into bodybuilding because the gym that I trained at, God, I can't even remember the name of the gym.
Yeah.
It jogs the memory. It's all right.
Yeah.
Tons of bodybuilders. Steve McLeod.
Yeah.
He was like,
I think Kevin LeBron was around.
he used
too,
to
that
come
time.
in every so often.
Which is pretty crazy.
That is
Steve
It's a
McLeod was
big-ass
like,
name, man.
he was like the big bodybuilder in that facility. Like
Yeah.
he eventually went pro, and like every night there'd be like 5 to 10 like really well-known bodybuilders, and that's like they were super diligent in their training. And so like I'm watching them train, and I'm like, that'd be kind of cool to see if I could do that. So I started trying to get a lot of size, and then I went to a friend of Steve's, and he helped me with my nutrition.
Yeah.
And he's like, dude, if you're going to do this, I'm going to just let you know, you should just do a natural show. Just do a natural show, because you're going to set yourself up for disappointment if you're going to go into anything else.
NPC.
Yeah.
So
He's like,
non-tested.
don't do that. Yeah. He's like, do your natural show. He set me up with the Pocono Classic, which what I trained for. And what's his name? Prather was his last name. He helped me with my nutrition. He just basically wrote out exactly what I should do.
Yeah, I was telling him about that.
I did it, And he's like, Jim, you're squared away. Like, I don't even really need to check on you, because he was doing like weekly checks. He's like, come back 2 weeks before your show. So I drove out to Virginia where he was at, and he's like, take it off. So I got down to my shorts, and he was looking at me. He's like, do this pose, do that pose. He's like, dude, you're set. He's like, you look good. I can tell you did everything I asked you to do.
What were you doing to like lean down and get like show ready lean? Because that's like a crazy level of leanness.
Cardio.
No one knows about,
So
right?
what he did was he like started with a reasonable amount of cardio and a reasonable amount of calories. And
What
he
was
just,
that at, if you remember?
vaguely, it was probably like between 2,500 and 3,000 calories I started with, and he would just cut my calories systematically over a period of what's a normal cut? Like, I can't even remember. Like
Say 16 weeks, something.
16 weeks,
Yeah,
and he just systematically cut it, and he systematically increased my cardio. And
What were you doing for cardio?
Stairmaster.
Okay, yeah.
A lot of
Pretty
Stairmaster.
standard, yeah,
That was his
classic.
like favorite. He's
Yeah.
like, don't waste your time with the bike. Don't waste your time with walking. Do the Stairmaster. So like, I was doing the Stairmaster, cutting, and then he gave me like, I guess it was like pre-show routine. Like, I can't even really remember what I did. I just remember drinking a lot of water, like a gallon of water, like
Something
a day,
similar.
like a flush,
Yeah.
like a diuretic that just like flushed everything out, and just you leaned out. And Ayuni has a picture of my show,
Yeah.
and I think that's probably the best I've ever looked in my entire life for about 24 hours.
You looked pretty good. That's impressive. You looked really lean in that photo.
Yeah, that diuretic kind of thing is similar. Honestly, it's really similar to what I did during wrestling. And I knew that later because like I remember there'd be occasions. Honestly, I just wanted to be really lean because I'll get lean like seasonally, but for summers I'd want to be super shredded for like the beach with my friends or something.
Sure.
And I'd kind of use that. It's probably not healthy, but I'd use like that flush and dry method to look super dry for certain things. So
Yeah, it's
I-
cool how you can play with that and use it to your
you
advantage.
can use it
You
for a
know
lot
how
of
to do
different
it,
things.
yeah.
Yeah, you just gotta be careful, man. It
Yeah.
definitely does take a toll on your system.
So like, so happy I did it. Never posed in my entire life. Never put together a routine. Like, none of it.
What was
So,
your song?
Pearl Jam.
Oh, that's cool. Wait, what do you remember what song?
Animal.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So kind of a fast pace.
Yeah.
That's sick.
And like, so nervous. Never been in front of that many people in my entire life.
Did you do like the little alcohol shot the night before? You ever hear about
No.
that? A lot of bodybuilders do that to dry them out.
You might get sick too though. 'Cause
Yeah.
there's
It can fuck with
yeah, it
people.
can fuck with your stomach too, especially people who abuse it.
Yeah.
But yeah, taking some like I had nights where I took some tequila, man. I woke up.
So dry.
So I'd send the guys like videos of my shreds. They'd be like, dude, what the hell, man?
Yeah.
Like it's a normal summer day, and I just like got so drunk the night before, and I woke up shredded because like my calories are so low.
So like, you're so used to your, like, literally, I just remember eating chicken breast, sweet potato. Like,
Yeah.
Did you cut your carbs completely at any point, or he still had you doing a little
Yeah.
bit of carbs?
yeah. So I was just doing like protein.
Yeah.
Some,
you get really
I don't remember what that point was, but I just remember being like,
I was just meat and veggies.
starving, just totally starving, where you get into that headspace where you start dreaming about food.
Yep.
And
But you were still working and like maintaining a life during that, which was like that's hard to do.
I was working like probably 30 to 40 hours a week of training,
That's
plus
respectful.
training my clients. I had all my food in my cooler
Tupperware,
every day,
yeah.
freaking, regimented every day. And then you're done with your show, and no one told me you gotta phase,
Reverse diet.
you gotta phase in. Like, you can't go gung ho and eat cheeseburgers and pizza.
And tell them about what you did.
So Masalka, Kevin Masalka, he says, "Hey, dude, I heard about your show. Awesome. There's a big barbecue tomorrow for the company. You want to come?" And I'm like, "Yeah." I ate everything that I wanted to, and I was in the bathroom,
You paid the toll.
like complete
And it was like pizza and beer, right?
it was like barbecue, like all the stuff you shouldn't even touch. I ate so much, and I was like, "Kevin, I gotta go home, man." He's like, "What's wrong?" I said, I can't even talk to you right now. I just got to go.
Yeah.
And just, you have a total food sensitivity when you do this certain foods, and then you go outside that realm.
Mm.
Oh, yeah. So
Your gut biome is like completely reset. It's so bad. Oh yeah, I've had that. And then you just flush. But even sometimes when I do stuff like that, I wake up, I get now more shredded the next day because everything's flushed.
so I looked my best the day after.
Yeah,
my
that's
show.
how it
That's
is.
usually
Yeah,
how it
with
is,
all
yeah.
the carbs and shit.
So
it's-
if I were to do it again, I would introduce a little bit more carbs, maybe eat a little bit more dirty,
Mm.
like, because the dirtiness of the barbecue, like I was like,
A lot of people do that now.
and
yeah.
still pretty lean.
yeah, your
So-
muscle bellies get super full.
From all the carbs, yeah.
Yes.
That's so
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
And so then from there, how'd you get in? You did the triathlon, or
Yeah, I kind of got into more like endurance work
okay?
through, at the time in college, I was in the National Guard. I was in the Army.
Yeah, we definitely got to talk.
Yeah,
about
we gotta talk
I
about
wanna
that a
know.
lot.
That's a
When
great-
I went into my basic training, I was like 190, and when I came out of it, I was 165.
it's a pretty serious cut.
So you're running every day, and I was my basic training was in Fort Benning. So hot, like we would get up at 3:30 in the morning, beat the heat, do our PT, and I just got into that running frame of mind, that endurance frame of mind, and in basic training, my drill sergeant was this huge black dude who was super into fitness. He had a whole room of weights where not at first, we had to like earn it. When we earned it, he'd say on Sundays, you guys can go lift if you want to. Like specific guys that
Yeah.
were into it.
That's
So
pretty cool.
I started to lift a little bit, not too much because we were always so tired from training, like sun up to sundown. And then that's when I got into running, and I continued running after, because when I went to basic training, I would go basic training one summer, and the next summer I did some advanced training, and then I was done with my training, and then I was, in my National Guard unit for 6 years. So really got into running, and that's when I got into triathlons, because I was like, I want to train and do that. So I started swimming, and then I actually didn't do a triathlon. I ended up doing a mountain bike biathlon,
Huh.
which is a run, bike, run.
That's cool.
So, because I kind of like the idea of going off on trails and
yeah, you like
doing
to
that.
hike. You're a big hiker.
Yeah.
Big outdoors guy.
So yeah, and then that was, I kind of kept doing that endurance stuff for a while, and then as you said, I did a lot of hiking because my cousin Jay had done the Appalachian Trail, the whole thing, and I met him like in actually met him in Virginia, and he asked me to go meet him later in the summer, and we did another like week or so section of the Appalachian Trail up from New Hampshire into Maine, so over 100 miles.
And that whole Appalachian Trail hike takes around a year, I think, right?
6 months because it's 2,155 miles.
No social contact.
Yeah,
It's just,
that's-
or like a little bit, but like you're.
Well, right now, like if you do it, you're going to have a bunch of other what they call through hikers that go with you. And he had a bunch of really, really good friends that he made. So first year he did it, he ended up having to get off the trail because his lung collapsed. He is in the middle of, I think, Virginia, and there was a period where there was a drought. So the way you get your water is out of springs. You have a pump that filters the water, and that's how you get your water.
Yeah.
All the springs were dried up. So that facilitated his lung collapsing.
Damn.
So he basically walked off trail down to a road and just was waiting for a car to come by, and some woman came, picked him up, took him to the hospital.
Man.
And his mom had to drive up from Tennessee and get him. He was in the hospital for 3 days and went back home, recovered, and instead of resuming the trail the next year at that same point, he did it from the very beginning.
Oh
restarted.
man.
That's what kind of
That's like willpower right there.
he's got a lot of willpower. So that was when I met him on the trail.
Yeah.
He called me up. He's like, "Cuz," that's what he called me, "Cuz." He says, I'm in Front Royal. Why don't you come meet me? Let's hang out. Came to go meet him at a pizza joint. He had a beard down to here, and long hair, and like the dude, I never seen a person eat like that in my life. He downed a whole large pizza. And he's like, what do you want? So I said,
Yeah.
I thought that was going to be part of my meal.
Yeah.
So from there, we formulated this plan. Like he literally took a napkin out and said, you're going to come meet me. I said, okay, I don't have any equipment. He wrote all the equipment out that I needed to get. I went to REI, got it, and then I met him up in New Hampshire later that summer. And then we did like a week, and it was like one of the best trips I've ever done in my life.
That's so cool.
Just out in nature.
Yeah, but what do you learned from those like nature experiences? 'Cause I feel like a lot of people don't have that anymore, and I feel like that alone time to
Survival.
think, survival. So tell me a little about that.
So one day, I've probably been like probably 5-6 days we're on the trail. So you get used to the flow. You get up, you got a little breakfast, drink some water, get some coffee. Because he has to do a certain amount of miles
Yeah.
every day because you're starting in Georgia and you're going to Maine, Katahdin. You have to, if you are late to Katahdin, it snows up on the peak and it's going to restrict you get into the top. So he's on a schedule.
Yeah.
So therefore I have to be on a schedule. So we're on schedule and, we're walking, I'm getting oriented, like my conditioning was, I thought pretty good, but when you're carrying a pack and you're going up verticals, switchbacks, I was blasted.
Yeah.
Like literally he was behind me the first day and he's like, cuz, you going to make it? And I was just like, I am not going to quit.
Yeah.
I'm not going to quit. But there was a day where it was his birthday on the trail and we went out and we partied hard.
While hiking the trail. That's so cool.
We went into Andover and we let it.
Massachusetts?
That was Maine.
Okay. Yeah.
Andover, Maine. So they had this hostel, this barn. Like it's the first time he had slept in like a structure,
Yeah.
probably in a while. And so we went out the next day, got up a little bit late. We're both like hungover, like bad, terrible mood. So he's like, cuz, don't take it personally. I'm just gonna go ahead of you a little bit. I just want to get to the next place and crash. I said, no problem. So I'm walking, he's ahead of me. You have your white blazes. That's the Appalachian Trail. You got to look on the trees. Then it starts to pour.
Oh.
And now I'm getting pissed because like literally the trail is kind of like indented. So all the water is in there. So basically I'm walking in a stream for miles, feet soaked. Like I'm pissed. So then I'm like, I'm pissed. So I just keep my head down and I'm like, I'm just going to walk until I get there. So at a point, I'm like, I look up and I realize I don't see any more white blazes. I am totally lost. So then I start to freak.
Yeah.
I don't know where I'm at. And like, then you're in like fight or flight.
Yeah.
I'm jazzed. So I'm like, I turn around and there's a couple turns and I'm not really sure, like, should I take that turn? Should I take this turn? I'm in the middle of nowhere. Like, that's how people get lost. That's how people die.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, God, stupid, man. Like, don't be angry. Keep your head up. So I'm getting ready to freak out. And then I'm getting ready to make this turn. And then my cousin's standing on top of this little hill. And he's like, cuz, you all right?
That's like a movie scene.
And I'm like, all good. And like, as soon as I got my stuff off, I just started to throw up.
Damn.
Either it was because I was so jazzed up.
Everything.
Maybe it's from the previous night. And I just start heaving. I go to the back. We were in a shelter. So it's like a 3-sided shelter. And I just drop my stuff. I go around back. I do my stuff. I go in the shelter. I get my bag, my sleeping bag, and I just crash. Like, I just was like,
That sounds like a miserable day.
totally miserable. But man, like, you just learn how to survive.
You learn too that you got to keep your head in the game. You can't let the emotions get to you too much. But
Yeah.
what are you gonna do? You're
Some
out
big-
there alone.
Some big lessons.
Yeah.
And I was with my cousin, like I've gone solo backpacking by myself, and it's it can be kind of scary when you're out there and like there's apex predators there,
Yeah.
like grizzly bears, wolves, coyotes, that mountain lions that are preying upon you.
Yeah.
So
Honestly, that sounds insane.
That
it's
is so
exciting,
crazy.
but you know how you get exhilarated with doing
Yeah.
stuff.
You're
It's
all
kind
in.
of like the same thing. It's adrenaline, kind of a long, sustained adrenaline rush.
Yeah.
Being out in the middle of nowhere for that amount of time.
It's interesting. So from here, hiking. Honestly, something I want to talk about too before we leave fitness is, I mean, your experience, and you're older and you're in shape, and you're probably some of the best shape I've seen around your age. And I'm like, how's your philosophy on fitness changed over the years? And like, what do you think about training now? Because I feel like we don't have that insight for our older people to train. I feel like it's good for people to hear that.
Yeah, man, especially people like your dad who like just got into
He just
training.
got into it. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I just
Just
read-
now.
I see him as super fit
we
guy.
just
Like I see him.
it's because he does construction, so
Yeah,
he's
so
always
he's just naturally, he does functional training on a
yeah
daily basis.
functional training on a daily basis.
He's got those forearms, those calves.
But yeah, like I mean, it's,
Like when you shake his hand, he's like,
yeah, his forearm is just locked up. I'm like, we were doing arms today, and his arms are just diesel. I'm like, how is your arm that big? His arm was like that big. I'm like, why is your arm that big? I'm like, you haven't been doing anything, but it's because he's always lifting stuff. He's always moving, but using it. But
Yeah.
I think like having that perspective on training for age, because like, you know, in our day and age, a lot of people are like want to get on steroids and all these things, and they don't really think about longevity, and they don't think about long-term fitness, and like, what are you really doing this for? So
you know, basically my approach is like super sensible. I try to lift 4 days a week. Super easy split. I remember in your one of your podcasts, you're talking about lower upper splits. That's what I do.
yeah,
I do upper lower split Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Nothing crazy. I do it at the gym where I train at, Baseball Zone. Very simple. You've been there. Very simple
He's been there
setup.
too.
It's very simple setup. I kind of do sort of the similar routine every time. I don't deviate too much. Occasionally, if I get bored, I'll do something different. It probably takes me an hour to do my lift from warm up to cool down. And I do yoga a couple times
That's what I
a
was
week.
gonna
I
ask
do
about.
30 minutes of yoga a couple times a week.
And you're running now too.
I do running at least once or twice a week, and then the other days I walk.
yeah.
Like
Like walking's big too, man. I've been trying to get my dad to get 10,000 steps in a day and start getting a lot of movement, because that's the health benefits are like, there's so many, it's numerous.
Yeah, I saw that. I like that you told me to try to get the 10K.
Yeah, man, just movement. It's moving your body, you know, get those blood flow to legs. Because also, I've heard a lot of, like, recently some of my family members have had strokes and stuff, and
Yeah.
it's because they'll get what's, am I forgetting? They'll get blood knots or whatever.
blood clot?
Yeah,
Blood clots.
they'll get blood clots in their legs and stuff, and those cause blood to stop flowing throughout their body.
Yeah.
So just keeping movement is so important, and I think yoga, that's something everyone can do.
Yeah,
So-
it's very simple. The routine probably takes me 25 minutes at the very most. I do a little meditation at the end.
That's good.
Before COVID, I kind of did cardio machines, and then after COVID, I don't do cardio machines anymore. I just walk,
Yeah.
hike, or run.
I think
That's good.
having that natural experience too of being outside, it's so important. Like a lot of people, and if you go to the gym cardio section, you look around, there's
Yeah.
like 12 flat screen TVs, and there's like, everybody has their headphones on, there's music, there's like noise everywhere. I'm like, it's too stimulating. You need to like get outside, relax, and it gives you time to think.
Yep, that's when I have a lot of insights when I'm walking or hiking. It's kind of like a meditative state. It's that repetition, you know, and that's when I have a lot of creative thoughts.
Yeah, and I think I was listening to, you know who Neil deGrasse Tyson is?
Yeah.
He's an astrophysicist, yeah. And I was listening to him, and he says like one of the biggest things for insight as a scientist, he's like, you gotta get bored. You have to have times where you're not overly stimulated. And a lot of people
Yeah.
are stimulated all the time now, so it's hard to think like, what do I like think of new things, you know? And when you do that when you're alone and you're not in a state where you're staring at like 9 flat screen TVs while I'm doing cardio, like if I'm walking doing cardio, or I put down the music and I'm doing cardio, all those times are times to think and come up with new ideas.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
stimulation nation.
Stimulation nation, 100%.
Screens, a lot of, the screen time kills your creativity.
Yeah,
And we just got to be mindful of that. I have to be mindful of that. I don't
Yes.
want to spend too much time. You got to have a balance.
You gotta have a
You got to
balance.
use your phone. It's a tool for
You
me.
have
It's like
to.
my business tool.
Yeah.
But having it, everything in moderation.
Everything in moderation for sure. And then meditation on that stuff, the mental stuff. Like for me
Yeah.
personally, I started doing, when I got a back injury, I started doing Wim Hof breathing. You know what Wim
Yeah.
Hof is?
Yeah.
I started
Totally.
doing a lot of Wim Hof breathing to like help with recovery and stuff. And honestly, my back injury kind of did get to a point of almost recovery, and then I came back to jiu-jitsu, and now it's all been downhill. So we're working on that now. But I think having that mental side of things, it's weird, man. I've always felt there's something there. There's something there for recovery and for being in tune with your blood flow and being in tune with your body, your breath. It's amazing.
Having had back issues myself, like as I get older, I see how related stress is to back issues, and there is a psychosomatic effect of that. You'll notice, like you're in
Wow.
stressful situations, your back,
Starts to act up. Yeah.
it's not physical.
That's so interesting.
So, to me, when I start to have those back issues, most of the time I'm in a stressful moment, and I just try to regulate it through meditation, breathing.
Mm-hmm.
Breathing is really important, and getting my doing my routine, staying on track with my routine, and then slowly the back issues go away as the stress dissipates. So you really got to have that mind body interconnectedness. If you realize that, then that really helps with back issues.
It's really easy to lose track of that mind body connection too with time. Like when I can move back home, that things are out of order. I've been posting a lot on social media, so that's kind of been my focus. But I got overstimulated and I kind of lost touch with that like mind body connection, that like spiritual connection, soul connection kind of thing. But going back there, man, that helps in so many different things in your life. It's amazing. But also something else I wanted to ask was, how have you dealt with like continuing to train as you've gotten older? Because I feel like a lot of people, you definitely had times where you probably had to stop for certain things, you
Sure.
take time off and things, but how do you stay back on track every time? How many years have you been training now?
I mean, I kind of started with Mr. Weinfeld like 5th grade.
Yeah.
And at different points in my life, I don't think I ever stopped being physical. Like I've always playing sports, and then probably football training started at like 15, 16. I've always been lifting. I never stopped lifting. Maybe a little bit less at times, like obviously going to basic training and advanced training, I wasn't lifting as much, but I've always been doing some type of training, whether it's endurance training or lifting, my entire life. Like I never stopped.
What's the motivation and drive keeping you though? Because I feel like when you get older, you got a family, you got all these things. Like, how do
That's
you
it.
get back to it?
I mean,
That's
part of the motivation is the family. Like I want to see my son grow up, have a family, and be a grandfather. And I want to be around for that. Like I want to be healthy. I don't want him taking care of me. I want to be able to take care of myself and be healthy until I'm, till it's my time, basically.
Did you see that vision when you were younger of what was coming? Because a lot of people get short-sighted. Yeah, you get short-sighted and you don't. That's why people make these decisions like steroids. Like you get so short-sighted, all you think about is now and you don't look ahead. But I feel like you made decisions that made you look ahead and set you up for a healthy life.
I think, when Ayuni was born, you have longer sight because you have a child and you have to think more ahead. When you're a kid, younger, you think about today and tomorrow maybe.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's just maybe maturing and noting like, hey, this state that I'm in is not going to last. Like I gotta prepare. When you're out of college, you got to prepare financially. So there, at that age, you kind of like look forward a little bit more. So for me, working out, it's part of my life. Like I'll never stop doing it. Like that's when I feel the most alive, is when I'm training. When you finish your run and you finish your lift, you feel alive.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great
it's
feeling.
amazing. Respect to you for training all the years. I that's very admirable characteristic, because I don't really know a lot of people who still do that, man. And I don't know a lot of people who are in shape like you are and have that mental capacity for training that you do. So it's pretty beautiful.
Thanks.
Yeah, of course. So from here, all the other things we're going to talk about, I guess military. So what made you go to the military? What happened with that aspect of your life?
Yeah.
Literally, I was at a party with my fraternity brothers, and one of my frat brothers was in the National Guard, and he had all his gear in his room. And I was like, hey, what's that gear? Like, I'm like interested. And he's telling me about it. And I was like, he's like, you want to go on a drill? You want to see what it's all about? I'm like, yeah, heck yeah, let's do this. So he took me on a drill, and I was like captivated. I was like, I kind of want to do this, And my dad was in the military. All my uncles were military. And of course, my dad would never say, I want you to join. It was my choice to do. And so I went on that drill, and I was like, where do I sign up? That was it.
Yeah.
And, it was in a point in my life I was a little bit undisciplined and kind of a little bit wild. And I think it was really good for me at that time to be under that type of discipline. And it was a challenge, and I enjoy challenges.
Yeah. We're all like
My
that.
son you enjoy challenges. Like, we like to conquer that challenge that's in front of us. And huge challenge, like away from home, total, like, you see the movies about basic training. It's mostly true. They just shock you.
Yeah.
And they just try to like throw you off, and then they reintroduce the way they want you to do things. They strip you down, and then they say, this is how you're going to do it. And you got to adapt and acclimate.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was a good experience for me at that time. And it gave me like a lot of good tools. Time management, huge one.
Huge.
Time management, backwards planning, like remaining calm under stressful situations. Like, really, those are the most important things I can think of, top of my head.
And I think also something else to talk about here is, you told me you have Lyme's disease, and I don't know how you've maintained training with that and all. I want to talk about the life issues that's brought up and how you've maintained a healthy lifestyle with that.
So on a drill at Fort A.P. Hill, springtime, we were all, on a break, sitting under these trees, just chilling. I think we were having lunch or whatever. And, we had the long sleeve they call blouses. We had those off. We had just T-shirts like this underneath. We're all chilling. Then I'm like looking down, and I see a couple ticks. I pull them off. And, my guy next to me, I'm like, hey man, check yourself for ticks. So then the whole company is checking, and the commander of the battalion, he's like, tick check. Everyone strips off. Everyone's looking. I pulled at least 10 to 15 ticks,
Jeez.
like little ones. Those are the ones that cause it.
I've never actually had a tick.
Deer ticks.
Yeah, that's terrifying.
So, like, everyone supposedly pulled them all off, and about 2 weeks later, I found one. And yeah, 2 weeks. And so, like, probably 3 weeks later, I just started feeling like tired, like just feet in the sand type of tired where you just can't move. I'm like, there's something messed up. Like, there's something going on. I don't know what this is. And I just try to train. And then I'm watching the news, and this report comes on about Lyme disease. And at the end, they list the symptoms. I literally had every one.
Yeah.
So then I go to the doctor, do the blood tests. Bingo, you got Lyme disease. And then, so they put me on probably 2 to 3 months of antibiotics, which at that time, they thought, you do your antibiotics, you're good. Not the case.
Yeah.
What I've found through research is that you always will have Lyme disease. Is like what we were talking about earlier with what we were talking about. Ringworm. It's the same thing.
Yep.
It's the same thing. They're related. Like, you always will have Lyme disease. It resides in your body. It kind of hides. It's tough to get it out. You can get it out. But when you're faced with stressful situations, you have what they call a bout, where you get feverish. You might get the bullseye rash again, and you feel fatigued, and you get brain fog, and Like some people, they get bit by a tick and they never find the tick, and they don't know what they have. So it mimics a lot of other diseases. Luckily, I knew exactly what happened. I knew exactly what it was. I caught it early, but I'd say probably 7 to 10 years after I initially had it, maybe I was going through a stressful situation, I got like 10 or 15 bullseye rashes all over my body. So I go to the doctor, and he had no idea what was going on. I actually knew more than he did about it because I'd been doing research. They gave me some antibiotics, and then I connected with a woman who was doing massage therapy, and she had Lyme disease, and she turned me on to this line of supplements that combat Lyme disease. It's just natural products, and I've been taking that for over 10 years.
That's good.
And knock on wood, pretty good.
I'm glad.
Sometimes it comes up, and just staying healthy too. Like keeps your immunity system high. That's the key. Keep your immunity system high, and you don't have those bouts, and take your supplements.
I'm glad. I'm glad you've been able to live a life with that, because I mean, a lot of people would let that kind of consume them when you feel like you have something that's never going to go away.
You just manage it, but I look at it like I'm taking this really good supplement. Like it's really helps my recovery.
Yeah.
It helps my immunity system stay really high, and
Do you know what the supplement is?
Vital Plan.
Vital Plan.
Dr. Rawls, he's a doctor who developed this protocol. He had Lyme disease himself. He took this protocol, which basically, before his line, you'd have to buy each independent supplement, whether it's ashwagandha or this and that, each separate bottle. Now he has it organized into like 4 or 5 different types of medicine, and you take a certain type in the morning and a certain type in the evening. It's very easy.
Yeah.
So he kind of streamlined
That's really
the process.
Cool. Yeah.
He's very well known.
Interesting stuff, yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool. I think so. We talked a lot about like your military, your training, all this like stuff that happened like during your middle age life, your younger life. What we didn't touch on though was like upbringing. So like how you kind of grew up as a kid, your family life.
Yeah.
The people in your life that you grew up with, family, in Tennessee, family here. Like what was that like?
So I was born in suburban. I told you guys that, and grew up on Conway Road. And pretty normal family life, mom, dad, sister, and it was just like a time when, like, the elementary school was walking distance. I would walk to and from school myself. Same deal with middle school, right down the street. First time I bused was to WJ for like a year or two. Then I was driving. So like a really kind of like familial lifestyle where I remember my street, like in the summertime, kids would be playing in the street. You'd go down, walk to your neighbor's house and hang out. So it was like really just kind of like a family oriented area, like good friends, like super good friends that I met. Some of my friends I still stay in touch with from elementary school. And from middle school, high school for sure, and just having a blast, playing sports, partying in high school, went away to college and just, made new friends and still maintain my connections with my old friends to this day. Carlos, your uncle, I played football with, and I see some guys that I went to high school with occasionally, and we still stay connected like that. And it was like kind of a different way of life then. No phone, no cell phones. We did watch a lot of TV. That was like my vice.
Nah, you never did something,
My dad worked at NIH. My mom was trained as an occupational therapist, so she was trained as that, but she was a stay-at-home mom. And had a sister. She passed away when I was 19. She was 22. that kind of like changed my life at that point.
Yeah, how did that like affect your life and who you are today? Going through something like that.
I mean, you think, back to people that you've lost, can you imagine losing a brother? Can you imagine losing your brother? It's hardcore. Like first, I had grandparents that passed away, but when you have a sibling that passes,
Yeah.
you just have to like deal with emotions. And, it kind of created, not kind of, it did create who I am today. And I have a lot of empathy for people who lose like other siblings or parents at a very young age. And having been through it and going through that grief, you sort of get through the grief, but it's kind of always there to remind you. Not that that's a bad thing, just kind of gives you that experience, as you grow up.
Yeah, I haven't had to deal with any like significant. I mean, I had some losses in my life, but no one that close to me. I feel like that your sibling before it feels almost before their time. It is before their time. So
Yeah, she was 22, so like 3 years older than me. Just graduated from college. I don't want to say it is what it is, but you just have to deal with it.
yeah, you do.
You just got to keep moving on. So that's a big change in my life and in the family's life, because we're all grieving at the same time. And I remember that's probably a big reason why I wanted to go in the military. I kind of wanted to just strive out on my own and just break free.
Kind of reset.
Reset.
Yeah, I mean, big
Reset.
time with that. You need to kind of take a different outlook on life after
Something like that too.
That's huge for your character.
I mean, I definitely, there's probably people listening who like have gone through, situations like that, loss and stuff. But I mean, looking at you today, I think you've obviously handled it very well, and made you the person you are today. So I think there's definitely insight and like tips that you've already said or that you can offer for people that have gone through stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, just looking back on it is try to take care of yourself and take care of your loved ones and your family. Although it was, difficult for not just the immediate family, but the family outside of ours, like my cousins and like Daryl and Wanda and all those cousins, it was like hard for everybody. So it's kind of like, my sister committed suicide. So
Sorry.
it's like there's a stigma that surrounds suicide that people don't want to talk about it. Maybe they don't want to like bring it up because you're sensitive to it. But, I'm here to say that like you need to talk about those things. Like
Definitely.
you need to like get it out. And that's part of the healing process.
Yeah.
It's rough because you never know when someone's going through something. You have to talk to them. You have to talk to everyone. You have to check in with people even when there's no. Like I was thinking about that the other day. There's a lot of people don't check in until something feels off with someone, but you got to check in with people just because you care about them.
Yeah.
And it overlooks us all. So
100%. You never know what someone's going through until you know. And sometimes, like, I know I measure myself. Like maybe if you're upset with someone, like, I often think like, just be cool. You don't know what they're going through. Relax.
Yeah. It's good.
yeah, a lot of people, especially nowadays, easy to judge online,
Totally.
easy to judge in person. Like this person's this, but you don't. You see such a small outlook on someone, and to make a judgment off of one thing it's terribly incorrect, and it's rude. It's rude because you don't know what people have been through. You can look at some people need to look at their own life and be like, I've been through times. Reflect on yourself. I've been through times where I did irrational things, and then because you were in a certain emotional state because of X, Y, and Z factors,
Yeah.
It's easy, man. But yeah, it's always good to appreciate people, check in on people, make sure everybody's good mentally, and then just love people. Love life, love everyone. So
That's the key.
love's the key, man. My dad's always told me that. Just love everything. And
I think that's one thing if you take away from life, that's it.
love. It's amazing. Yeah. The other thing I wanted to talk about was kind of like, so you go to this, I want to say called spiritual arc sort of, where you go into these vision quests and stuff. And
Yeah.
I mean, explain to the viewers I don't really even know what a vision quest is and all that stuff. So how'd you get into that?
Yeah, definitely informing him. And also I was going to say too, that's like, obviously you've been through stuff, everyone's been through stuff, but you've been through stuff. And I think you're on a very spiritual. I mean, you've always been spiritual, so I think it's something that probably has helped you and something that you could definitely talk about.
100%. So, Ioannis met my teacher, who I met, I would say 25 to 30 years ago. A woman who was working at a gym that I trained at, she was involved in this spiritual path in which my eventual teacher was involved in. So I didn't really know her that well, but I noticed that she was busy doing things, and it looked like she was like studying something. So I just decided to ask her what she was doing, and she was preparing for a vision quest, what the Lakota people call a humbalecha, which is crying for a vision. That's the translation. So she kind of was explaining to me, and before she said the word vision quest, I said, "That's a vision quest." She was like, "Oh yeah, how do you know that?" I said, "Well, there was an author called Tom Brown. He wrote about stuff like that. He had a teacher. He was Native, and so I had read those books. So that's how kind of knew what it was all about." And she's like, "Do you want to go?" And so something inside of me said, "Go. Like, you need to go."
Yeah.
And I went, and it's a week-long ceremony, and that's the first time I'd ever been to ceremony like that. So it's a Lakota ceremony, and basically they put you by yourself for 4 days, and no food, no water, and it's in a protected space, like open-ended rectangle, and there's prayers that go to protect you in that area, and you stay there for 4 days.
What do you mean by prayers that protect you?
So
like,
you have
things?
like a piece of like a square of cloth, and you put tobacco in there, and you kind of twist it up so there's a little ball with a tail, and you say a prayer for each of those, and that's what lines your space. It's tied together with string, and that's around your space. It's protection for your space, and there's saplings that come up, 7 saplings that come up, and that's where the prayers go around, and you're in that space for 4 days. So that's when I went the first time. I believe there was about 5 to 7 vision questers, and that's the first exposure that I had to that. Which also in that ceremony they have a sweat lodge, which the Lakota people call an inipi. It's like a dome, and in the middle is a pit, and outside of that dome is a fire, and they heat the stones, and they take the stones in with a pitchfork, and they put the stones in that pit inside the inipi, and they pour water on that. It creates heat, which is like a rebirth, a reset, a regeneration. So that in itself is a ceremony, but that is also within the humbalecha. And so Chief Oscar Moreno is my teacher. Ioannis met him. Ioannis used to go to a lot of ceremonies. I used to be the fireman, which I would be in charge of taking the rocks and putting them into the sweat lodge, the inipi, in charge of starting the fire, building the fire, taking care of the fire. The fire is the heart of the ceremony. And it's like in our solar system, it's the sun. So it's like the mini sun.
Yeah.
It's the center of the entire ceremony. Once you start that fire, the ceremony begins. So he used to spend a lot of time outside with me, playing in the dirt.
It makes sense why I like the outdoors. I was just thinking about that because I have been outside a lot, always with you.
He would go with me to help out. He'd play and hang out and meet the people, and so yeah, I met my teacher through that, and I still learn from him to this day.
That's a pretty cool experience. So do you converse with the people in the ceremony? Like, so
Yeah, what goes on?
what goes on in the ceremony, sort of?
So in the ceremony, if you imagine the dome, and there's a doorway.
It's a teepee.
It's not a
Or not
teepee.
teepee, but
It's a dome. It's like
dome,
it's a dome, and you put a covering over that to trap the heat.
And you build that up.
We
with
build it out of saplings.
Saplings, yeah.
And that takes like a full day of work just to build.
I used to watch them do the building process and setup
it's
process.
Pretty
interesting,
unique.
And you put like the mats. They're not mats, but the blankets.
Building, moving blankets we put on top, and then we put big tarps over top, like cloth tarps on top to entrap the heat, and you have that pit. And then when people come in, the women come in first because we sweat together. Some traditions sweat separately, male female. We do it together. The women come in first and they sit. The leader who's pouring the water, who is the kind of controls the ceremony, is like the intercessor. They control, prayers and singing. He goes in first, the women come second, and the men sit on the other side. And so you can talk in there. It is actually encouraged to talk. There's 4 parts to the ceremony. There's an opening, there's a prayer round, there's a round that's designated for a pipe, a sacred pipe, to smoke a sacred pipe, and there's a closing. And every time you open the door and close it, that's 1 round. So 4 rounds.
What's the duration? How long does that take?
It depends.
Yeah.
I've seen them take 30 minutes. I've seen 3 hours.
Yeah.
Just depends on what needs to be done within that ceremony, which is based on the people. And when they talk, there's a period where the leader says, if you would like to talk right now, this is the time. And then they talk.
I think I remember that. Yeah.
that-
I've been in one, a couple.
Yes, that steers the ceremony. Like in this podcast, you just go with the flow.
Yeah.
In the ceremony, it's the same thing. You
That's
just
pretty
go
cool.
with the flow. And so, when you're done, you come out, you shake hands with each person, you take some tobacco, you put it in the fire, you say a prayer, and that's the end of the ceremony. And then you go eat.
Yeah.
You have
So-
a feast.
Yeah. So how are you dealing with the fast like that? I've never done a fast of that magnitude, like at all in my life. Anything like that. Maybe max
Yeah.
was like a day of no eating, no water. But more than that, it's like, how are you dealing with it mentally? How do you get through that? And what does it give you too? Like, what do you gain from it?
Yeah.
So to me, you go through a process, and it's all dependent on your bodies, your physical body, your mental body, and your spiritual body. And so you go through a process of being hungry, and it's uncomfortable. You're sitting. You do have a quilt that you make that's around you, and you can sit on that. Basically, the men go up with shorts, and the women go up with a skirt. That's it. So you don't have a lot of outside things to help you. You're very limited. And you go through that process of no food, no water, and you kind of break through barriers to get to the next level,
That's
to a point where you start to realize, once you've broken through that mental barrier, because that's really the last aspect before you get that spiritual enlightenment, and then you just realize, I have everything I need right here.
Yeah. That's so
within
beautiful.
within myself. And that's when you start to really realize and observe nature, birds,
That's
insects,
amazing.
whatever is there. The smallest little thing could be your vision for that moment, for that time that you're there.
And that's so beautiful, because like something my dad always tried to teach me, and I never really understood it growing up, was he'd say to me, like, you have everything you need inside of you. And like when you do not realize the magnitude of that until you've gone through enough endeavors and challenges in life, and then you start to see literally everything you need is within yourself. And you start to build that confidence. A lot of people lose confidence, and they need this, they need that, like, especially when it comes to, like, if you go into bodybuilding, you're going to whatever, and you need to diet, and you start to restrict yourself, and you think, I need this food, I need it. But when you have mental clarity and you realize, I decide, like, I am what I need, so I don't need all these externals. But that's a beautiful, beautiful way to learn about it. And I've always wanted to do a long-term fasting. So to me, that is fascinating.
Yeah, you go through the process, and
I'm sure it can be emotional too, being
Yeah,
up there.
that's part of the process. You go through emotional
Probably think about a lot, reflect a lot.
cleansing. You have thoughts about parts of your life. You have a lot of time to think. You got
Yeah.
4 days, and you prepare for all this. You do what we call disciplines, where you practice fasting, and you say prayers, and you make your quilt. You eat clean, no meat, stay away from drugs. no
course.
alcohol, no drugs. You're clean. You're like a clean vessel when you go up there, waiting to like receive, your vision.
Yeah, it's almost. I've been reading the Bible a little, and a lot of the old stuff they did in Jerusalem is like fasting before you have to be in the right mental state
Yeah.
before you're gonna go see God. Like as they always preach that you cannot see Him unless you're in the right state. So, I mean, that's a whole spiritual thing. You have to be prepared for what you're gonna go into, but that goes into every aspect of life. You're gonna go into a new job. Be prepared. A lot of people don't prepare and they try to do something that they're not ready for. So you learn
A lot of spirituality is a lot of discipline.
discipline.
People don't realize that.
It's a lot
People,
of
you just
discipline.
push a button and you're there. It takes a lot of work.
Instant gratification. People
Yeah.
are always looking for that.
And like that's why a lot of people hate. They'll despise certain religions, blah 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 blah. But I've always had a respect. I'm not a very religious guy, but I've always had a respect for religion because the characteristics you learn from it. Spiritual stuff. You have to learn discipline in order to do these things, and that's why for me, like one reason I started reading the Bible and started reading religious. I want to start reading more religious texts is because, let's say I saw. I think it was Andrew Tate talking about this. Actually, it's funny, but he was like, let's say I'm an atheist, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I see somebody else who's religious, and I see the way they live their life. I'm like, oh, they live a good life. Then I look at another atheist, and I'm like, the way he lives his life is, I don't know what they're doing, Because, like, you decide what team you're on, right? And you look at the people on your team, and it's like, I live this atheist life, and let's say I live a respectful one. And I look at the people, I'm like, they're not really on my team.
Yeah.
So
I remember that video. I said that, yeah.
Why don't I look at the team that aligns? Why don't I at least give it a try to look into?
Yeah.
And people don't do that because they're so stuck to their ways. No, it has to be this, has to be this. But I'm like, at least give respect to the people who, like, I respect your moral principles, your principles of life, the way you carry yourself. So why would I not look into your way of life?
Yeah.
That's why these things, like, I'm always happy to learn about new spiritual ways to learn because you see the characteristics that's given you in life, and it's helped you develop. So I don't know, man. People be more open-minded and be open to
People think
learn.
they need to be on like these teams. Like the teams don't even exist. Like there's
Yeah.
no teams, man. But like people are like, oh, I need to be on like the conservative team, the liberal team. Like it's my team. The other team's terrible. I despise them. But like in reality, you could like introspect and just like see how these other people live their lives, and it's really not that different. Maybe it could actually be a way you want to live, just through like just these other groups. People are like,
Yeah.
oh no, this is other team. I can't be a part of that.
Yeah, man. And you look at the people you surround yourself with. You're only gonna grow as much as the people around you, and that's why it's always good to look into new groups that are more excelling, because then you become part of something bigger than just you, and you grow with others. So it's amazing stuff, Jim. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, anything else really you want to ask? I mean, you probably know more questions than I do about if you want to ask about anything.
Trying to see. Yeah, we're going like an hour 15 right now. That's how long.
Pretty chill. It's usually around our length for pods.
Yeah.
So.
I think I think that's pretty good. I think we touched on a lot of good stuff.
Anything else you want to talk
Yeah,
about?
anything you want to share? We do like the closing thing at the end of every podcast. I asked Marco's dad this, and I was like, there's a lot of young people listening. There's middle-aged people listening. Everyone's listening. Someone's listening. And so, like, if you could just offer one piece of advice, maybe to somebody younger, around our age, any piece of advice or just something that's about their life, maybe that could help them. Anything that's about you that is calling from your heart to share, like anything that is like advice or just something.
Yeah, I'd say this is from my experience with my life, and that's what I base it on. And everyone has their own opinion about their life and their experiences, and that's the beautiful thing about life. It's like we all have our own perception, and sometimes it takes us a while to like understand why we're here. What's my gift? What's my gift that I can offer to the world? And my advice is find your gift. It may take you a long time. You may know it really early, but once you got the gift and you know it's your gift, then enjoy yourself and be present. Don't get too wrapped up in the past. Don't get too wrapped up in looking too much into the future. Experience life, your family, and take like the opportunity to be happy and joyful.
Yeah, man. A lot of people got to smile more and be happy and just get that experience. And I feel like the missing factor in today's society is people don't want to go get experience. They want to stick to being inside and not socializing and not getting outside of your comfort zone. So to get out and find new experiences that might guide you to your path, it's beautiful. And it seems God giving you your path. So
yeah, Chief Oscar used to say to us, try to be comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And that's how you grow. He always used to say,
Yep.
stretch yourself. Try to stretch yourself beyond what you think you can do. That's where growth comes.
And I think like I've talked about that recently with like children specifically. When you look at a kid, they're always so nervous to do something, and they do it anyway because you're told, okay, I got to do new sports, I got to do something new. But when you get older, you start to just, I have my things, I'm going to do them. But you don't look outside to try new things and literally stretch yourself outside of that comfort zone, because that's where you're going to keep growing. You don't stop growing because you're at a certain age. Your physical limitations or mental limitations. You can keep growing as long as you keep introducing new experiences. So experience life, man. That's beautiful. I love that, Jim. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for the podcast. It was an amazing episode, and pleasure to have you on here.
Thanks, Dad. I love you, and thank
Love
you
you
for
too.
being on the podcast.
My honor.
All right,
Until
good
next time.
episode. Yeah.
See you guys.
Episode 4 finished.